How's it going? In this video, we're going to talk about my top 5 tips for hard gainers. My number 5 tip is to track your workouts and your food. This is especially important because when you track your workouts and your food, you're keeping yourself accountable, so there's nothing else to blame about whether or not you're getting your meals in or if you're getting your workouts in. Because once you're tracking those workouts and those food, you can look back and see where exactly you are, and then over periods of time, you can go into these apps. Like the app I use is something called My Plate. You can go into these apps and look back and see if you actually followed through and have kept up with that diet or workout plan. It's even more important to track what you eat, because unless you have years of experience dieting, you can't eye your food and exactly what the macros are in that meal, right? So if you're tracking it and you're like, okay, well, there's this, this, and this, and it adds up to 60 grams of fat, like 40 grams of protein, and like 100 grams of carbs for one meal, which would be a pretty massive meal. Then you can go back and see over the course of the day whether or not to take out of a meal, to add more meals in, like whether or not to put more in a different meal, and so it helps you track that. My number 4 tip is, in the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, is to shock the muscle, right? So as a hard gainer or somebody that has trouble putting on muscle like myself, it's important to know that it's either your metabolism or either way you're genetically at a disadvantage to put on muscle. So what you're going to have to do is put on and attack building muscle in a different way than everybody else has to. The best way to do this, to shock your muscle, is to constantly be switching up workouts and doing different things so your body does not get that muscle memory that would stabilize. And then because the way that muscle building works, if your body gets really used to an exercise, it'll make it really hard to break down the muscle tissue because it's gotten used to it, and your body doesn't want to keep breaking down muscle tissue. This will come as a disadvantage to getting really high lifts, like putting up a really high bench lift or something like that, but it won't necessarily hinder your overall strength. It'll probably boost your stability in your muscles and overall increase your hypertrophy. My number 3 tip is to keep your workouts intense. And what I mean by this is that a good rule of thumb for an intense workout is sweating. So if you're not sweating during a workout, if you're not having trouble breathing or like really pushing yourself, so you're probably not having the most intense workout. And obviously most videos, if you do watch videos of bodybuilders and stuff like that, is a lot of them are grunting. They're sweating a lot. They're falling on the floor and like rolling around because they're like feeling hurt. It's because of the intensity of their workout that they're doing that. The reason why they're grunting is so that to not create too much stress on their organs, and why people sweat is because their body's overheating and their body's trying to cool down. So just the importance of the intensity of a workout is that you're pushing your body out of its comfort zone, and the only way to really grow is to push your body out of its comfort zone. One of my favorite analogies for this is that lobsters, once they're ready to move on, they have to break out of their shell to grow bigger and get another shell. So if they never want to get bigger, they don't have to break their shell, but they have to become uncomfortable to get bigger. Another way to tell if your workouts are really working or not is if you're getting sore, and if you are getting sore, how sore you're getting. If it's like a little sore, like, oh, okay, like I know I worked out yesterday, or if it's like, holy like my arms and like my legs are hurt. That's kind of really the sore you want to get to, is when it doesn't hurt as in like you broke your ankle, but it hurts in the fact that like you have a little bit of trouble moving the next day. Number 2 tip is to actually sit down and calculate out your macros and micros. Most muscle building diets call for between a gram to a gram and a half of protein per pound of body weight a day. I've even seen up to 2 grams a day, but I found that about a gram and a half is kind of the sweet spot for my own body. But the only way you're gonna find out that is if you actually go through the steps. This is where a lot of people fail And personally, where I've failed before in trying to achieve a certain goal or a task is just try to kind of wing it and like not really calculate or track what I'm doing, and then I end up being way off from where I thought I was because I wasn't actually sitting down and calculating and then tracking it and making sure that I'm staying on track with my diet plan. A good benchmark for carbs is about 2 grams of carbs per pound of body weight. You can go higher, but if you're looking to maintain a lean body, which is if you're going for the aesthetic look, then you're probably not going to want to push your carbs up too high. And on top of that, make sure you're eating low glycemic or slow digesting carbs. Another place that a lot of people fail in their weight gaining journey is not getting enough healthy fats. And anybody that's watched my channel knows that I definitely get enough fats now. There are a lot of essential fatty acids for muscle growth and preservation, and a good muscle building size gaining diet would probably have you between 0.3 and 0.7 grams of fat per day. Beyond all of that, those are just general benchmarks for what you should be doing. The best way to figure out what works for you is to tinker around and mess with your diet and see what works best for you. And that doesn't mean you change it up every day, but if you go a couple weeks or a month and you can look back and see, okay, this is kind of working for me, but I don't know if this is, then you can go back and look through and start to change things and slowly mold a diet that fits you perfectly. Number one tip for gaining muscle and putting on size is to split your meals up. And most bodybuilders, all bodybuilders split their meals up more than just the average 3 meals a day into anywhere from where Arnold would eat 5 meals a day and then Jay Cutler eats 12 meals a day. Now, you don't have to eat 12 meals a day to put on size, but if you're splitting up your meals, you're allowing your body to properly digest what you're intaking, and then that also spikes your insulin and helps your body to constantly be putting through protein synthesis. And also, if you're trying to cram like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 calories into 3 meals, you're either gonna feel sick or you're gonna fail pretty quickly because you're not gonna be able to stomach and digest all of that. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're looking for any future content from me or anything like this, subscribe. If you have any questions, comment below. If you disagreed with anything I had to say, also comment below and tell me why. Besides that, I just really hope this helped you, and I'll see you next time.